Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining tonight's Tuesday Talks webinar. My name is Susan Brown, and I am the Associate Director of Parent and Family Programs. It is our pleasure to be hosting a webinar on tonight's topic, Careers by Design, Meaningful Work That Makes an Impact. Tonight, you'll be hearing from Diane Saraletta. She is the Director of Employer Engagement and Career Design. So Diane is going to give us a little presentation, an overview of her area, and at the end of the presentation, we will take questions. You'll notice on your screen there is a Q&A pod to your right. At the end of the presentation, I will ask people to type in their questions, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. So let's get started. Thank you, Diane, for taking time out tonight to be with us.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone. My name is Diane Ciarletta, and I'm very happy to speak with you tonight, not only as the Director of Employer Engagement and Career Design, but also as the parent of 3 Northeastern Huskies. My oldest son, Nicholas, graduated in 2014, and we just celebrated his wedding to another NU alumna. And my second son, Anthony, is graduating this May, and we just found out that my daughter, Giovanna, will be starting in September. So we are a true Husky family. And so as a parent myself, I absolutely understand the very important role parents play in their students' career decision-making. In fact, research shows that parents are the #1 influencers on career decision-making for college students, followed by peers and then professors. So it's my sincere hope that this talk will provide you with some good information and resources to share with your students when they inevitably seek your input and guidance on their career decisions. Now, I'd like to say just a few words about why we chose this title, Meaningful Work That Makes an Impact, for the talk. We've learned from our conversations with students and also from research that meaningful and impactful work are among the top 3 most important career goals of students. In fact, a study done by a national market research and analytics firm, Universum, they conducted a survey of our Northeastern students, and the results indicated that the top 3 career goals of our students, Northeastern students specifically, are #1, to have work-life balance, #2, to be dedicated to a cause or to feel that they are serving the greater good, and #3, to be competitively or intellectually challenged. So interesting, right? And really very descriptive of this generation. And so for my team, for the career design team, these results really underscore what an important driver impactful work is for our students as they make decisions about their work and life goals. So I wanted to give you a sense of what my goals were for this talk. First of all, I wanted to discuss some important workplace trends and predictions for the future of work. Secondly, I wanted to make you aware of some of the career services and resources we offer to help students design and navigate their career journeys, and of course that we hope your students will take advantage of. Third, I wanted to provide some information on how we assist our learners with developing their career toolkit to be successful not only in their first job after college, but more importantly, for managing their careers over the course of their lifetime. And believe me, they will have many jobs and careers. Here's a surprising statistic for you. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that people will average, get this, 12 to 14 jobs by the age of 38. I was so surprised when I first heard that number. And that's definitely one reality that clearly makes it important for our learners to be agile and proactive and intentional about their career management. And that is exactly what we try to teach them. And lastly on the agenda, I'm looking forward to your questions. So I hope that sounds good. So I believe that we can we cannot have a conversation about your students' career development without at least touching on what's happening in today's workplace. Indeed, the workplace that your and my children are entering is far more complex than the one you and I entered years ago. So in addition to the frequency of job and career changes that I just mentioned, there are other workplace trends that we are seeing. So for example, workplaces are becoming more global and diverse. Our world is increasingly interconnected as work is performed across time and geographical boundaries. Organizations are becoming more diverse, culturally, ethnically, and by way of 5 generations in the workplace. I currently have the most multi-generational workplace I have ever had, the most multi-generational staff I've ever had. And it's wonderful, but it also has its challenges. And organizational leaders are learning that in order to be successful, they need to hire people with different national origins and ethnicities and cultures and languages, and people who can demonstrate cultural competence. A second trend is that knowledge is growing exponentially. Now, I reviewed several studies that predict the growth rate of human knowledge, and it's a little scary, actually. I read one in particular done by a gentleman named Buckminster Fuller, who created the knowledge doubling curve. Now, he noticed that until 1900, human knowledge doubled approximately every century. Then by the end of World War II, knowledge was doubling every 25 years. Today, it is said that on average, human knowledge is doubling every 13 months. And according to IBM, the build-out of IoT, or the Internet of Things, will lead to the doubling of knowledge every 12 hours. Think about the implications of that. Now, along with that, of course, is the role of technology. Robotics and machine learning have certainly improved productivity and enhanced the economies of many nations. Artificial intelligence has advanced into just about every industry you can think of. In all of this, there, of course, is the possibility of a new era that will improve the lives of all of us. However, what does this mean for work and jobs? So a recent McKinsey report, Jobs Lost, Jobs Gained, found that 30% of work activities could be automated by 2030, and up to 375 million workers worldwide could be affected by emerging technologies. And in my work in the past few years, we've seen new opportunities for our students emerging in fintech, analytics, robotics, social media, and marketing. And I can definitely say to you that there's a strong probability that your student will eventually enter a field that has not yet been created. The last one I want to mention is the gig economy. In today's gig economy, temporary, flexible jobs are commonplace, and companies are tending toward hiring independent contractors and freelancers instead of full-time employees. We're also seeing startups. Startups are common, and what we're finding with our students is that the competitive and flexible culture of a startup is seen as much more desirable than the stability of a large company, especially by our millennials. They definitely want to work for startups, much more than the bigger companies. That's definitely a trend. And by 2020, which is just another year from now, it's predicted that the gig economy is expected to make up 43% of the workforce. So all these factors represent both challenges and opportunities. So what are some implications of these trends? Well, one important one identified by a RAND study was that, and this is obvious, I'm sure, to you, was that the rapid pace of tech change and the nature of global competition is going to place a greater emphasis on lifelong learning and in retraining over their working life. In my experience with my students, I see many more people taking courses through online platforms such as edX and Coursera and Udemy when they realize that they need to learn a skill that they don't currently have. Just my own son, my oldest son, Nick, took classes through General Assembly to learn coding skills he needed for work, for his job. And since then, he's worked his way into a software developer position in his company, even though he never had a single computer science course while he was in college. So other implications are that jobs won't be lifelong. Jobs may not be even jobs at all. They may be engagements. As opposed to the goal of longevity in an industry or at a company, something that I have valued in my own career, career mobility is going to be the norm. The average time people stay on jobs is decreasing. Those of you that recruit talent for companies probably know this, that turnover is a huge problem. Currently, most people average 18 months to 2 years on a job, and that's especially true for millennials. Pressure is going to grow for people to prepare for jobs and careers that may not currently exist. International learning, including cultural understanding, languages, and diplomatic skills will become basic. And lastly, tied back to our workshop title, more of us are going to seek personal meaning in our lives in response to this intense, high-tech, always-on, fast-moving society. And I've seen this in the way millennials prioritize well-being. They are definitely more, on the whole, more anxious, but they do make work-life balance a priority, as we saw in the research. And in my humble opinion, I think the boomers and the Xers can learn a thing or two from them about that. So what does all this mean for our students? How should they be preparing to navigate this complex future workplace? What are the skills and competencies that are going to be required for them to be successful? Well, this list is a list that was compiled by NACE, which is the National Association of Colleges and Employers. They conducted a survey of employers, and this Big 7 list are what they indicated as the most desirable competencies for their hires. I added the last one, number 8, which is networking and personal branding, and I'll talk about that in a little bit in more detail. Interestingly, these are listed in order of preference to employers and priority. So critical thinking is the number 1 skill that employers say that they want, followed by communication, and surprisingly, the digital and technical literacy is number 3. Employers are also telling us that they perceive that there is a skills gap in these competencies among their new recruits. And ironically, students rate themselves significantly higher on these traits than employers do. So we need to kind of bring those together. And so what I'll say about the Northeastern experience and the Northeastern advantage is that throughout their educational and career journeys at Northeastern, our students are definitely asked to think about how they are intentionally gaining and using these skills through their courses, their co-ops, and other experiential learning. And the conversations that we have with them in career design focus on how are they going to articulate and integrate these skills into their stories that they're telling employers on their resumes, in their cover letters, in their LinkedIn, and in their interviews. Now, in your career conversations with them, you might help them think through some of these experiences. by asking them questions like, where have you taken on leadership? In what ways have you shown initiative? Can you describe how you solved a particular problem? I can tell you that these kinds of questions are definitely going to be asked of them in interviews. And if they're not sure how to talk about these, definitely send them to us. That we can absolutely coach them on how to talk about themselves in relation to these skills. And they can also use their SAIL app to do some of this integration and reflection as well. And when we talk about these skills with students, you'll hear them refer to hard skills and soft skills. And we really want them to really think about, what are your hard skills and what are your soft skills, and how are you putting these on your documents. In terms of hard skills, we all know that technical and data literacy and content expertise are critically important. In fact, that's why most students come to college, is they want to learn a particular expertise. And these skills absolutely need to be prominent in their stories. But you'll notice on the list that these are third. And what you might see is that, and what's surprising, is that the majority of the competencies on this list represent what our president, President Aoun, calls human literacy. These uniquely human skills are as important, if not more important, for our students to be able to thrive at work. And they are the ones that no machines can replace for now. So, how does our nationally ranked career design team help our students survive and thrive in this complex 21st century workplace? And I'm sorry, I couldn't resist the opportunity to brag here that we are ranked in the top 3 best career services in the nation by Princeton Review for the past 10 years. So I brag a little bit for me because, of course, I'm proud of that, but mostly I brag because I want you to know what a great resource we have on this campus, and we definitely don't want your students to miss out. Now, sometimes parents confuse employer engagement and career design with co-op departments. And while we do collaborate closely with co-op teams that are housed in each of the colleges, we also offer a variety of distinct resources and assistance to help learners with their career journeys. We want you to know that they should start early and they should start with us. We are the first stop on their career journey. If you do have questions about specific co-op issues, I would refer you to the directors of co-op for each college. There are 8 of them, and their contact information can be found on each college's website. So our career designs resources are focused on 3 important goals. We help students reflect, explore, and connect. So in terms of reflection, making good decisions, in fact, really making any decision, relies on having good self-knowledge and self-awareness. And for career decisions, that means, first of all, understanding your values. Things like, what are your drivers? What makes you want to get up in the morning and go to work? Also, your interests. What are those activities that make you lose yourself when you're doing them, otherwise known as flow? Your personality traits. Are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Are you a risk taker? Do you like security? All of those traits that sort of define some of your personality preferences. And lastly, your skills. What are those things that you're good at and that you enjoy using? In career design, we offer a variety of assessments that we can provide to students, like the Strengths Finder, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or the Strong Interest Inventory, and many other career tools to help students begin to figure out what we like to call their VIPs, their values, interests, personality, and skills. This is especially important for students who are undecided about their majors or their careers. And in fact, statistics show that about 50% of college students are undecided, and about 70% change their minds at least once. So it's very, very common. This is where we are the experts on the campus for this, and you should definitely refer any student who is making decisions about majors and careers to us, or who is unclear about their decisions to us. We will definitely love to get our hooks in them and help them. And students can access our career coaching services in a couple of ways. They can make individual appointments through their student portal, and again, unlike most other places on campus, they can have an hour with us. They can have many hours with us if they need to and they choose to. And they can also come to our new career studio, which is an open space in our building in Stearns. It's a really awesome initiative that we just started in the fall, and we've had over 3,000 visitors. So it's very popular with students. Because we're open 40 hours a week, they don't have to make an appointment. If the inspiration hits, they need help that moment, they can come right over to the studio and there'll be someone there to help them. And one of the things that students really like about working with us is that we focus on action. We really want students to create an action plan that will help them feel like they're making progress towards their goal. We always give them homework when they come in. If they're looking to get a resume reviewed, we will give them steps to take so that they're always making progress. In fact, when we survey students after their meetings with us, 99% said they made progress toward their goals, and 100% would recommend us to a friend. So I think we do a really good job. In terms of the exploration piece, which is also a really important piece of the career development process, my team provides many opportunities through workshops and events to help students explore majors and career paths and to gain information about industries and to learn about companies they might want to work for in the future for their co-op or their full-time job. And one of the things that we really like to do is we like to bring in alumni and parents even. We had a parent last week come in and do a workshop on finding an internship in business. And we bring in employer partners to share their career experiences and provide information. We also teach students to do informational interviews, which is a critical component of networking. And will help them to learn about careers and companies and to make connections. So besides self-knowledge, students need this career information to make good career decisions as well. And so we have, in addition to on-the-ground and virtual programs, we also have a robust web and digital resources that students can access 24/7 from wherever they are, whether they're in their residence hall at midnight and again the spirit moves them and they want to start working on their resume, they can go to our website and look at resume guides and samples to get them started. Or if they're on study abroad in Turkey or Spain, they can go on the website and get started. On the site, we have career guides, we have employer directories, we have vocational biographies, we have links to industry information. And I would encourage you to take a look at our website because I think you'll be impressed and maybe you'll learn something for your own career development. And you can also look at our calendar on our website to see the great variety of programming we offer. Again, something that that co-op doesn't do. We offer 100 programs each semester. We just finished our Freshman Career Week last week, which culminated in an employer cafe that connected students with employers for summer internships. Coming up next week on February 14th and 15th, we have our career fairs, one for undergrads and one for graduate students. During spring break week, we'll be offering Husky Treks, which is taking first and second year students on corporate tours, and we're going to be going to Children's Hospital, to Google, and to EF. And later in the semester, we're going to be hosting a diversity employer game night on March 28th. So lastly, the connect piece. There's nothing more important to your son's or daughter's career success than building and cultivating a good network of mentors, advisors, and advocates. Your network is absolutely how you are going to get the majority of your jobs. And most people are surprised to learn that 80% of candidates find their jobs this way. So it's important for students to understand that networking is their #1 most important skill for lifelong career management. And that's why I added it to the list of competencies from NACE. Some would say that if you have a good network, you will never have to look for a job. And my husband, who is a double Husky, has never had to do a job search in his entire life because he has such a strong network. And because many people hear the word networking and they want to run in the opposite direction, or they're resistant or anxious about it, career design tries to demystify it, and we want people to know it's not about the schmooze. It's about making connections and offering help to others as well. So we spend an awful lot of time helping students build their networks by connecting them with employers and alumni. We have workshops every week on the topic to teach students how to do it, as well as great resources on our website to help students get comfortable with it. And for you, talking with your student about their network and connecting them to people in your network is another way that you can help them. My husband and I are right now having conversations with our college senior, with Anthony, about who we know and how we can connect him to who we know. He is hopefully making a list and working his way through the informational meetings with some of these connections. So these are just some of the ways that employer engagement and career design differs from co-op, and how we help students reflect, explore, and connect. So those of you that have students or kids that have already done a co-op, you've probably seen the transformational effect, the transformative effect that it has on our students. I mean, there's just nothing like it. They go out and they come back and they really are different. They really are more mature, they're more savvy, they've learned things that they just couldn't learn anywhere else. Experiential learning is the hallmark of a Northeastern education, and co-op is certainly the jewel in the crown of experiential learning. But there are other ways that students can engage in real-world problems in addition to co-op, and all of which will help them to reflect, explore, and connect, and to build skills, those skills and competencies that we talked about earlier. And especially for first-year students, will provide ways to build their resumes before they do a co-op. And so some of the things you see on the slide are opportunities that we often suggest to students, and probably you know about some of them, but we wanted to make sure you knew about them. So one that's not here is the summer internship. And this is especially helpful for first-year students because they have that 4-month summer. And so we want to encourage the students, first-year students especially, to do a summer internship. And we offer significant assistance with this through internship postings in our database, NU Careers, through the career fair and some of these other events that I talked about earlier, and through some workshops and coaching in the studio. So we really highly recommend a summer internship as a great way to get started before they do co-op. You'll also see XN projects, which is really project-based learning, academic projects that students will do through their courses. But oftentimes when, a first-year student's writing a resume and they don't have a lot of experience, we will try to pull out from them what are some of the projects that they've done, and those would be things that they could put on their resume that really do get an employer's attention. Most of you probably know about study abroad and dialogues, but these are great ways for students to build their language competencies as well as many other skills. My oldest son did a dialogue to the Dominican Republic when he was a student here, and he learned all kinds of great skills from that and inspired his siblings to do the same. Service learning is another idea. Our students have significant volunteer experiences when they come here, but we know that that really does impact the way that they see the world. So opportunities to do service learning and volunteering are great ways to build skills and make an impact and also increase their network at the same time. And last but not least is the faculty-sponsored research. I have had many conversations with students about suggesting that they volunteer with a faculty member in their lab to get their feet wet, to start getting some experience, and also, more importantly, to make a connection with them, with a faculty member who in the future could become their mentor, their advisor, maybe write them a recommendation for graduate school. All of those things are really important reasons to have relationships with faculty. So you can see that Northeastern offers so many ways to do experiential learning. And these are the ways that students are going to build the competencies that they need for success. So we just wanted to make sure that your student takes advantage of every opportunity that's available. So as you can see, we work to set students up for success, both while they're here at Northeastern and after they graduate. You may not know that we offer free service to alumni for life, free service for life. Because remember, our mission is to help students not only get their first job, but the one after that and the one after that. And one of the most important ways that students can be successful is to be prepared with an excellent toolkit. So you can ask your student, are your resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, interview, and salary negotiation skills as good as they can be or as good as they need to be? Now, most likely they've had to keep their resumes polished for co-op, but a co-op search, while competitive, is different from a professional job search. The pool of competitors widens considerably. And what students don't always recognize is that they need to make sure that their toolkit will allow them to compete in this wider world. So if you have a student that's currently doing a full-time search, make sure they've updated their materials with this in mind, and certainly send them our way so we can help them do that. So as you might expect, we spend significant time on helping students with all these materials, particularly in our Career Studio. Students can come in anytime with drafts of all of these things and get immediate feedback, and they love it and they need it. We also have some new digital resources, including a resume tool called VMock, where students can upload their resume and get immediate feedback from the tool and get a score on their resume. And it's a really good way to begin improving their resumes. We also have a big interview, which is a software tool that helps students practice interviewing. Again, a lot of our students think, I don't need to worry about this. I've already gone on 2 or 3 co-ops and I'm good with interviewing. Well, again, I would say to them is, co-op interviews are different from professional interviews. The stakes are different. So practicing their interviewing is really important, and we have that option and that opportunity through not only the software, but also the opportunity to do mock interviews with staff. We have how-to videos. We even have a bot that students, again, can ask questions of. As I mentioned earlier, we have rich web pages with examples and how-to guides and even sample scripts for negotiating salary. And this is something that students really like to come to us for because they've never had to do it before on co-op. And so if they have a few offers or they're in a position where they can negotiate their salary, we encourage you to send them to us, and we can give them coaching on how to craft their negotiation strategy. And in most cases, when we do that, it results in students actually getting better, increasing their offers. So I just put that out there. We also have workshops on the topic of negotiation. We have an initiative called She Leads where we try to address the wage gap for women through our workshops on salary negotiation. So we bring in experts on this to work with our female students, and males are welcome too. We don't exclude anyone, but we particularly target our female students because there's still a wage gap for women. We also think LinkedIn is so important for their career and job search success that we offer a workshop on this every week. So LinkedIn is critical. We also have employers who come to the studio to coach students. Tomorrow I have IBM coming to provide students with resumes, with feedback on their resumes. So making sure their toolkit is the best it can be will definitely help students be more successful in their job searches throughout their lifetime. So I hope that I gave you some good information and resources that you'll share with your student when the opportunity arises. And you'll see the next few slides are some ways that you can stay connected with us and contact us. Now I'd like to open it up for questions.
Thank you, Diane. That was really good overview of all the different services we provide. As I mentioned earlier, that if you do have a question, you can type it into the Q&A pod, which is on the right side of the computer. We will try to answer as many questions as we can. We do ask that you please refrain from posting personal questions pertaining to your student. So let's begin seeing some of our questions that are coming in. I know, Diane, in the beginning of the presentation, you talked about when is a good time for a student to come in for their first time into your office, and kind of a two-pack question, when is a good time? And then if a student is applying for co-ops and really doesn't have a lot of experience, how can you assist them with that? Any suggestions? And
Yep.
I know you have talked about that too.
Yep. So I would say sometime in the first year is a good time for them to come in. They should get familiar with our office through, hopefully we will be going to some of them through the outreach and the classes that we do to first-year students, but we would really like for every first-year student to have some connection with our office. And then in terms of applying for co-op jobs without a lot of experience, again, we will help them make the best out of their work experiences that they currently have through their high school jobs, through the courses that they have, through the projects, and probably many of them through their activities that they've completed in high school. A lot of students have significant leadership and volunteer experience from high school, and so we will help them find a way to pull out those relevant skills that would be impressive and relevant to an employer who might want to hire them for an internship.
Great. You talked a little bit about the internships, and do you offer any assistance for outside, different states and things like that, or is it just in the Boston area?
Nope. We have our database of NU careers. We have a variety, hundreds of internships, and this is our internship season, so we get many, many internships in every day from around the country, so it's not just based in Boston. I will, with that said, say that, probably the majority of them are in New England, maybe the Northeast more particularly. But if students live in other parts of the country, we will help them. We have other internship sites that we can refer people to. In fact, on our website, we have a list of great internship resources that students can look at for internship search leads all over the country.
You talked about some of the online services that they have available. Do your online resources have salary ranges for different positions? I mean, do you offer assistance with what a typical salary would be?
Yeah, so students often ask that question, particularly when they're involved in a salary negotiation. So we do. We have a great page on our website. If you look at it, it's called Salary Negotiation, in which we list different resources where students can put in the name of a job and also a geographic location, and it will give you a salary range for the position that they could expect. We collect salary data from our new grads, so we have the Office of Institutional Research does does surveys of our students after they graduate, and so we collect survey data of how our Northeastern students are doing based on their majors and degrees and things like that. So we have lots of salary data to share, and that's first step in the process when a student is negotiating a salary is to understand what is the range for the positions that they are applying for. So that's the first point that we will try to help them with.
So when a student goes to the resources page, then on your website, can parents access that information?
Of course, it's public. They can go on it, and that's why I encourage everyone to take a look at it.
I have that on your website, and it really is good. And I didn't know, how much parents have provided for that information and that type of thing.
Yeah, they can look at all of it.
I know you have a career fair, which is one of the most popular events on campus, I think.
It is.
Can you talk a little bit about what, do we do it once a year, twice a year?
Yep.
What can students expect there?
Yes. So we offer 4 multi-industry career fairs every year. So we offer 2 in the fall and 2 in the spring. And as I said earlier, we do them over 2 days. So one day is for undergraduates only, and the other day is for graduate students specifically. And as I said, it's a multi-industry fair, so every industry is represented. We have nonprofits, we have, all kinds of high-tech businesses, you name it. Every industry is represented. And as you said, Susan, they are very, very popular. There, you can see lines on down Huntington Avenue waiting to get in.
I see them every year. I know it's a very popular event. Yeah.
It is very popular. And again, depending on where your student is in the process, it's absolutely, if they're looking for a full-time job, they should be going to the career fairs. Even if they're looking for summer internships, many employers are there who will, consider students for internships in their companies. But more importantly, I like to encourage students just to kind of, shop around, to kind of get a feel for what companies are out there, who might they want to work for in the future, and to start having conversations and to practice that all-important networking skill.
One of the questions parents are kind of asking is more to specific majors. So if a student was in the fashion industry and wanted to learn more about that, would they go to your area and who would they see? And then someone's asking about the Explore program. Can they pursue internships in that field too?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of sort of industry-specific or career-specific knowledge, yeah, absolutely. We can point students to all different ways to, as I said earlier, really explore, get career information through the exploration that we can show them how to do. We'll point them to different resources where they can read about the career. We'll show them ways that they can connect with professionals who are doing those jobs so they can have informational interviews and learn from the people that are doing those jobs. And thirdly, we'll help them brainstorm ways that they can get real experience through their co-ops or through an internship or through volunteering so that they can start to build their resumes. And in terms of the Explore piece, we absolutely can help Explore students. They're the students that, we really enjoy working with because they're the ones that are really still trying to figure out their career paths and their major decisions. So, they're the ideal candidate for coming to our office. We actually are invited to their classes, so we meet with every Explore student through a class, and then many of them follow up and come in to ask further questions about their specific interests.
So this is the question that I'd like to know the answer to too. Someone's asking if a student is applying like to medical school or a pharmacy
Yes.
degree program. Is that something that you could help them?
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you asked that, because I did forget to talk about the fact that I actually have a resource on my team who is a pre-law graduate school advisor. And this person focuses specifically on helping students through the application or the graduate school process. In terms of medical school, though, we do have, there's a separate unit on campus. There's a pre-health advising unit that's made up of a few people that work specifically with students that want to go to med school, PA school, anything really in the medical professions. They will do the advising for. We take care of everything else, law school and other types of graduate school. So yes, if you think your student is interested in going to grad school, or specifically law school, again, Thursday I am putting together an event with one of our faculty at the law school here, because Northeastern has a law school. They're doing a mock first-year law class so that students can see what law school might actually be like before they make the commitment.
Someone is asking about your hours during the summer. I believe they're the same year-round.
They are the same year-round. Yep, we are open. We're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 7, and Fridays till 5.
So I just want to tell our parents that we are recording this session, that if your students do want to listen to this at any point, it will be available on our website, and I'll put that screen up at the end here. We have a parent asking, how do students find out about the different services you offer? So.
Yeah, so we had the great opportunity and the great fortune to be invited this summer to meet with every single student through orientation. So some of them, they all got this spiel, if you will, through the summer orientation. Whether they remember it or not is another story, and so that's why I think having heard some of this yourself, you'll be able to reinforce and encourage reinforce the message and encourage them to utilize these great resources.
You spoke about study abroad and the dialogues of civilization. I'm not sure, do you know if there are still opportunities for 2019, the summer of 2019?
I think that those decisions are being made. I've been hearing some students say, oh, they got accepted to a dialogue. It might be through the next week or so, but they are nearing the end where students have had to apply and get accepted soon.
We actually did a webinar with them not too long ago, and I believe a lot of the deadlines were in February, so you may want to check their website. So,
yeah.
Okay.
But it's a great thing to do.
There's a parent asking, what additional advice, recommendations for student athletes who are balancing athletic and academic responsibilities? Is there any assistance?
Yeah, oh, that's a great question. Yeah, and we actually have a person on my staff who liaises with the athletic department. The academic advising staff of athletic affairs reaches out to us, and we do targeted programs for athletes because we know that they have unique circumstances, and it's harder for them to come to workshops and to access some of these resources. So we go to them. We do different workshops, we do different events. We work with that department to try to customize what would work for athletes.
This is an interesting question too. We have a question. So if a student is studying abroad, or they're out in a co-op on their final session, how would you suggest they do a job search if they're graduating soon?
Yeah, I mean, so we can connect with them virtually through Skype or Blue Jeans or even a phone call. And so I would suggest that they start with a coaching meeting with one of us, and we can help them develop an action plan and a strategy for how they will do their job search. I mean, it doesn't really matter where they are. The steps are the same. They need to create a target list. They need to start reaching out to their connections through their family, through their networks, through their family and friend networks, through their LinkedIn connections, through their alumni connections. They need to start setting up informational meetings with some of these connections and having those types of conversations. They should be going on NU Careers and some of the other online websites. Again, spending 10% or 20% of their time looking at jobs online and 80% of their time making those connections. As I mentioned earlier, that's how most people get their jobs. So the process is the same no matter where they are, but we can certainly coach them. If they can't make it to campus, we can have those conversations with them virtually.
We had a parent asked earlier, are there any fees associated to any of your services, whether it be a student or alumni?
Never a fee for a student. And I mentioned earlier that this service is free for life. So if you graduate and 5 years down the road, you decide you want to switch careers or you need assistance, you can come back to my office and we provide free service.
So if a student is graduating in the fall, I believe they're asking for 2019, should they attend the spring career fair?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not too early. It's not too early to start, building their list, kind of thinking about where they might want to work, getting the business cards of the people that they may want to reach out to in the future. It cannot hurt to start early.
We'll have time for like one or two more questions, so I'll read this one to you. My daughter, who is currently a junior, will be coming home in New York in the summer. She would like to apply for an internship at a nearby hospital. She did her co-op from July to December last year at some Massachusetts hospitals. My question is, can she go to NU's Career Center for Health so that she could be referred and have a chance to work in her home state? So I think they're asking, if they wanted to work in California.
Yeah, I mean, certainly she can come to the career office, but I'm not sure when you say can she be referred. We don't work like co-op does in the sense that they have X amount of employers that then you can say to students, here are the opportunities. What we can do, though, is help them uncover connections that they might have in the field or in the hospital, particularly through our alumni. We have over 240,000 alums, I think, out there, and students can access names of alums through LinkedIn and through our Northeastern alumni directory. So we could help her perhaps do a search and see if there are any alums who work at the hospital that she's targeting, and then try to help her connect with that person. And then, of course, thinking about her own network, maybe connections that she has through her former co-op employers. And LinkedIn is great for that as well.
So do you have any statistics about placement rates from your office?
We do, but I don't have them off the top of my head. I didn't bring them with me today. But I can certainly, if you want to reach back out to me, send me an email or give me a quick call, I can certainly look up any data that you want.
So one final question, and then we'll have to wind it up here, but is it ever too early for a first-year student? I know you said you speak at orientation and the students are out there. If a freshman was to go in now, I mean, what, do you think that's
I think it's
good time, or
I absolutely
wait?
I absolutely think it's a good idea. And again, it depends on the student and what they're curious about and what they want to work on. Some students are perfectly content not to do anything in the first year, and I would not push them if they're not ready. But I think most students that come to Northeastern are already starting to think about, what am I going to do in my co-op? How can I make use of my summer? How can I make use even of the courses and the experiences and even the extracurricular activities that I can start to build my skills? And those are the kinds of conversations we can have. And I think they're helpful.
Well, Diane, I want to thank you so much. This really has been helpful, and I know our parents are finding this helpful too. If you want more information on career design, or if you have a question that we did not get to and remained unanswered, please reference the contact information that is on the screen now, or you can email us at parents@northeastern.edu, and we'll be happy to assist you. Shortly, you'll be asked to complete a brief survey to provide feedback on this evening's session, as well as share any suggested future topics. We really would like to hear your input on that. Also, note that within the next week, you will receive an email with the recording of this webinar, so if you ever want to go back to the slides or hear the recording again, or send it to your student, you're more than welcome to. And those past Tuesday talks are on our website. And I just want to keep a reminder, please save the date. Next Tuesday, February 12th from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be doing a webinar on engaging in cultural life at Northeastern, so we hope you will be able to join us. Again, I want to thank Diane and all the parents for joining us tonight. We had an exciting day here in Boston. We had our Patriots Day Parade. We do have to put that plug in.
Yep.
And we hope everyone has a great evening. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.